class, today we are going to be learning about the second president of our country and how he became the president. So let's talk about the election of 1796 first. Here's John Adams to explain it to you himself.
Now, after Washington wrote his farewell address, the Democratic Republicans chose Thomas Jefferson and Aaron Burr for candidates, while Federalists chose I. John Adams and Thomas Pinckney for candidates.
Most of Adams' votes came from the North electors, while most of Jefferson's were from the South electors. This was the first time that sectionalism came into play. Yes, you in the back?
What is sectionalism?
Sectionalism is when the northern votes are for one party while the southern votes are for another party. This is when now there was just two. Who would be the next president? Adams won largely because the two southern votes that he had swayed, which were electors from Virginia and North Carolina. In the end, Jefferson got the second largest number of votes, making him the vice president, also making the president and the vice president from two separate parties. After Adams counted the Electoral College votes, the final tally came from 71 votes for Adams and 68 for Jefferson. Now, class, let's begin talking about the XYZ affair while John Adams was president. War erupted in France in 1792, but the U.S. was not worried until spring of 1793. Although Washington wanted to remain neutral after he signed the Jay's Treaty in 1794 because the Royal Navy seized American ships and he feared it would start a disastrous war, the French interpreted it as an alliance with the British and started to, in turn, attack our ships carrying British goods. Adams tried peacefully resolving the issue by sending three commissioners to Paris for a negotiation, but Minister Charles Maurice de Talleyrand refused to see them and demanded a $250,000 bribe and a $10 million loan. This was known as the XYZ affair. Adams settled this by asking Congress for better funds for defensive measures, a navy, coastal defenses, and a provisional army. During the fall of 1798 and the winter of 1799, he received intelligence indicating a French willingness to talk. Adams announced his intention to send another diplomatic commission to France. By the time he got there, Napoleon Bonaparte had become the head of French government. After several weeks of negotiation, the American envoys of Napoleon signed the Treaty of Morte-Fontaine, which released the United States from the Revolutionary War alliance with France, and brought an end to the quasi-war. Overall, let's go over the acts that were mostly pointed towards the immigrants coming in, because John Adams didn't want to lose his Federalist Party for the next election, and most of the immigrants were going to vote for Democratic Republican. First of all, we have the Naturalization Act, which lengthened the residency period required for citizenship from 5 years to 14 years. Next, we will be talking about the Alien Enemies Act. This is part of the Alien Enemies Act. It empowered the president to deport aliens whom he deemed dangerous to the nation's security, which means if he thought that any of the immigrants coming in were dangerous to the society and the economy and everything, he could literally take them out and deport them out of his country. Next, we will be talking about the Sedition Act. The Sedition Act outlawed conspiracy to prevent the enforcement of federal laws and punished subversive speech with fines and imprisonment. If anyone was talking badly about any of the things, they could be fined or put into prison or even put to death at times. After all these acts, only 15 indictments and 10 convictions under the Sedition Act were held, and no aliens were deported or arrested, although hundreds of alien immigrants fled the country in 1798 and 1799. Class, I have a special guest for you today. Everyone meet John Adams.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, you in the back, do you have a question? Hello, I was just wondering why women weren't such an important role back then and why they weren't running for office.
Well, back in my day, women were not seen as such a great role in society as today, and didn't have as great of educations like the rich, wealthy white men would.
Yeah, next question. Yes, you? Since you mentioned education, can you explain how you got yours and what you did?
Well, back then, people didn't typically have one job, and not everyone had a formal education. Luckily, I was one of the people who did. I went to Harvard, and I was a farmer. Since agricultural jobs were highly needed, and I was also a lawyer.
Any more questions? Yes, you? Back then, did you have a problem with immigration like we do today?
Well, it's funny you asked that. Yes, immigration was still a problem back then, which is why I passed the Alien Act to help rid our country of evil immigrants. Yes, evil immigrants. Well, I think that is all the time we have today. Bye, everyone. It was nice meeting the New World.
Bye, guys.
Strange people.
Any other questions? Yes, you. Since you mentioned education, can you help explain how you got yours and what you did?
I went to Harvard. Cut.
Hello, I was just wondering why weren't there women running for office back then?
Well, that's a silly question. Women can't run for office. Women can run for office now? What is wrong with America? Next question. Yes, you, the big dog in the back.
I can't do that. Now I have a special guest for you. Everyone meet John Adams.
Hello, folks.
Yes, you in the back, do you have a question? Hello, I was just wondering why weren't there women running for office back then?
Well, back in my day, women weren't crap.
Back then, did you have a problem with Mexicans coming to U.S. like we do today?
Such a funny question you have there. Well, now that you asked, we didn't necessarily have Mexicans bothering us, but... Oh my God!
Second president of the country, and how he became
A farmer? Seriously?
No, to be a lawyer.
I went to Harvard to be a lawyer, and I realized there's no jobs because no one's slipping out in front of Walmart because Walmart wasn't created yet. So lawyers were kind of useless unless the farmers accidentally poked
I
themselves
fixed it all for you.